Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Shawn Smith. On today's episode is a other testimony episode where my guests share their testimony on how they gave their life to the Lord so it can have an impact on y'all. So I have a other female guest and she's going to introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Aryiah Brown, and I am a steward of the Lord and a woman of God. And I'm glad to be here on the podcast.
Yeah, so it's finally good to have you on here.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to be
Finally,
here.
you say you was waiting for me to ask you.
Listen, I'm here now, so I'm ready to get this going.
So tell me, when did you give your life to the Lord?
So I gave my life to the Lord when I was a little girl, a little teenager at 14 years old at my church, my former church at Bible Way Community Baptist Church. And that's when I just felt this overwhelming feeling of love and a calling from God, surprisingly, at that young of an age. And so that's when I came to the altar and gave my life to Christ. And then as I got a little older, um, I got baptized, I think a few months ago, around like
Mhm,
April, where I got baptized after rededicating my life. So
mhm,
I've been with the Lord for a minute.
mhm. That's cool, man. That's very cool. Yeah, I know a lot of people, the way this word is going, we definitely need to give our life to the Lord, have a relationship with Him, and stay
Mhm.
on His word.
Yes, sir. Highly
So,
agree. We need it.
yeah, a lot of people say they don't need God, and then you have some people that is lukewarm. There are lukewarm Christians, one foot
Right.
in and one foot out. They be
Yeah.
saying that they Christian, but they think they're smoking weed and cussing and all that.
Mhm. Yeah, and God spits out the lukewarm. He
Yeah,
spits them out.
yeah, he sure do. So
Hmm.
yeah, so you do content and all that, and you
Oh yes,
also do Bible studies.
oh yes, I do do that. I've started doing that about like last year, and I don't know. I just saw like my media after like focusing more on like navigating my life as a woman of God. What I was drawn to on social media was more Christ like, and so I just seen different people come together and like doing Bible studies and stuff, and so I was like, oh, I want to create like this sisterhood where it's just women of Christ, especially starting at as young adults and like as young adults, we're trying to figure it out, like just like everybody, but like we're just
Yeah.
like we just got into the world, so we like baby adults. And so it's learning how to increase our faith at this age in like our early 20s, and so I wanted to create a space to have young women come together that have the main thing in common, which is the love of God. And so I wanted to cultivate that space for women on campus to be able to learn through Bible studies and learn about God through His wonderful love letter. And yeah, and then my content, I started doing that too. If y'all can, check out It's Right Entertainment on YouTube. Um, I've been doing like this series called Spiritual Living Series, and
Oh,
I just talk about like my spiritual living journey and like how I just different things of that I learn on the way. And also it's a type of platform that I have to be transparent and vulnerable to my audience about my testimonies and about the revelations I have and the different trials I go through. It's a whole
yeah.
bunch of stuff about my faith. And so I just document it and share it with people and hope it blesses someone.
Yeah. So what church do you go to?
I currently go to Word of Truth Family Church. I can't wait to come. come through tomorrow. And we're actually starting this series this September, starting up called the Relationship Series. And so it's at 9 a.m. for marriage couples and at 11 a.m. for singles. So I'm really excited for that because, everybody's trying to figure out like, who is their person, And so navigating as a woman of God to be able to know what to expect and what to look for while also being content with who I am. And so I really, really love that church. And I started going there I've been going there for 2 years now. And I've
Mm,
been heavily active like after a few months of attending. And so they're an amazing church. They're really organized. The people there are just such a blessing, and they always look to encourage one another. And it's an amazing space to explore what your gifts that God gave you. And so they really are good at cultivating those spaces to have different true groups like Bible study groups and also participating in different ministries to exercise those gifts. And so they really have a good way of discipleship and inspiring others to be confident and be bold in being an ambassador for Christ. So it's an
mm.
amazing church. Shout out to Pastor Eben.
Pastor Evan, his name Pastor Evan.
Yeah, Pastor Eben, yeah. And his wife
Oh,
Reese.
that's cool. So how long the church been around?
From what I learned, because I guess I'm still kind of fresh, but I think it's not too new, but I think it's been around for at least 8 to 10 years, maybe more than that. But I think the building that we're in right now has been under 10 years. Um, but when he started out, it was like he always called it like the 22, which is like the 22 people he started out with. That I know personally, some of them that still go to Word of Truth as well. Um, but yeah, that was a little over probably 10 years ago. And Pastor Evans, I know, started out preaching around like his early 40s, I think. And so he's like, I think he turned recently 50 something. So he's been preaching, for not too long, but long enough to be like, all right, he knows his word. So yeah.
Okay then. So okay, when you like do your quiet times and all that, so do you like take notes and like highlight it? I know some people say it be boring to read the Bible at times. That's why they don't read it that much. But we try to encourage people to read their Bible every day, so that way they can put it into practice.
Yes, I definitely agree. Yeah. At sometimes when you do read the word, there's some parts of the Bible that does draw some type of decrease of interest, especially if you don't understand the text. So the main things I would focus on if you're deciding to go ahead and start, reading the Bible and freshly learning about God, start at the New Testament.
Yeah,
Start at the New Testament is a great way to start, especially the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, which is the first four books of the New Testament, and then go from there. And then once you understand, Jesus' journey and like it's an easy way to ease into it. But the main thing also is a good tool and a tip. Um, Go start with a easy version to read. There's so many different
yeah,
versions and translations. I suggest for a lot of people that are new to the faith or trying to get back into the faith, NIV, NLT, I think ESV, so like English Standard, New International. I usually read the New American Standard Bible. It's kind of like the in between where it's like it has some vocabulary that I like to learn. So because I like to be intellectual, try to use big words. So I like and it's a good version to like study with. And also like when you start studying the Bible, you it's definitely important to pray, to have your God give you the heart posture to be able to how to enter into the word because sometimes in some segments, and you can just look it up of like once you understand the different parts of the Bible's purpose, because usually the section, like the four Gospels is talking about Jesus' story, and then like there's some sections like Genesis through, I think, was it Deuteronomy, something like that, where it talks about like the journey of creation, and once you understand like each section's purpose, then you can be able to understand it better, with Exodus and like the Israelites and stuff like that. Or in Leviticus, it talks about how when Moses finally got freed, the Israelites, and they're on, walking through the wilderness, Leviticus breaks down like the laws they had, to follow, because before Jesus, they still had to give offerings, right? And
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
yeah, until we had the Almighty sacrifice, right? And so there were still some things to keep us grounded, in the Old Testament, that the New Testament does not connect with, right? But it's all just a continuous story, and it's really beautiful. But definitely learn to have start with the easy version to read, and then also start with understanding each section of the Bible. And then, if you're new to the faith, start at the New Testament. But it's all beautiful. Like, I love learning the word because there's so much to learn, and you can read it so many
Yeah,
times.
it be so
It's something
deep,
new.
huh?
Yes, it's always so deep. I just like, I'm finna do Bible study later today. But yeah.
Man, that is so good. And that's why it's also important to have a community too.
Mm-hmm.
Like-minded friends. You can't sit there and hang out with any kind of friend that would definitely lead you into sin. Because if you have a friend that, I mean, of course, some of our friends are not saved, or some of them claim to be saved and all that. And the Lord don't want you to hang out with them like that. But you can, like, what you can do is witness to them, but it's also good to have like-minded friends so they can like play with you and also have you accountable too,
That's what
because
I'm
they
saying.
care about you.
Right. Amen. There's something that I learned recently. Um, I forgot his. I think Jerry Flowers. I think, and he talked about a message that he did an example of. There's four categories of people you will meet in your Christian journey, and there's kingdom friends,
Mm.
there's distractions, and then there's assignments, and then there's bait. And he breaks all of it down to where like it helps you to understand. It makes you think like, okay, who in my life is and what categories do they fall in, right? And so
Yeah,
definitely it's definitely important to have those kingdom friends, but it's definitely most important to discern who is what, right? And so
yeah,
um I definitely make sure I always stay grounded and stay connected with my kingdom friends, and being able to, and for those that don't have somebody to be able to fall in that category, it's definitely more of, kingdom friends are the type of people where you able to pour Christ into each other, right? And having
hmm,
Christ in the center. Where assignments can sometimes be, it's more of like it's one sided where one person is pouring into that person, to encourage them, right? And go on
yeah,
their journey, right? And so God will send you assignments like that to be able to influence them, to inspire them to go back, to his direction. And then there's distractions where, like, of course, the enemy will try to bring in people to distract you, in your journey, with Christ, to be able to kind of shift your focus to where it leads you, um, out of the way, or trying to delay what God has for you. And then bait is the most important thing you need to watch out for, because that's where the enemy will bring someone in your life to be able to pull you completely away from God when you're vulnerable. Because that's what usually happens. If you're like in a sober, sound mind, it's going to be a distraction, but it's not going to steer you away. But when you're down and something happens to you, that's drastic or tragic, and that's where the enemy will try to lure you away from God. And so, yeah, it's definitely important to have that community and find those kingdom friends, to be able to encourage you in your journey as well as you encouraging them. So it's really a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and some people they don't want that, but that's very important. Now, was it time when you had some friends that try to get you into, hey, you want to go to the club? You want to go to this party?
Let me think. When I first started going, actually, I think let me think back to high school really. But I was like, you know, I was saved for a couple years, and I think I was like a junior or senior in high school. And my junior year of high school, it was where I was like, I was super shy in the beginning years of my high school, but then my junior year, it was more of like I was trying to do my best to fit in, and to where it's like, okay, like let me find some people that I can actually be around and hang around. And so like back then I was such an all-around person. I think that's why I'm such an all-around person, because I learned at the time to communicate different types of people that have similar interests that I have. But at that time I wasn't really secure with myself. So some things that I'm still working on, it was a hard thing for me to say no. Right. And so I wasn't really invited to parties in high school, but at that time, at that time, it was more of like I was on the step team, and then like, oh, like they're participating in things that I wasn't 100% participating in, and so it's like, oh, okay, and so then back to my freshman year of college, I'm finally on campus, like, okay, let me indulge in whatever it is. And so, again, I had the temptation of trying to fit in. And I went to, a couple parties and stuff like that, and trying to go out and, just be in the space, right? But I just felt so out of place, when I
Mm,
go to those type of settings. And, like there's things in me that want to like have a good time, but at the same time it's like when I'm observing, like I'm an observer, like when I'm observing my space, it's like, should I be here, shouldn't I not be here? Like I know some people here, but this is not a space where I feel comfortable in, right? um and even went to a Halloween party, and it was just like, oh no, I can't do this again.
yeah.
Like there's
It
too.
like it gives you that feeling. That's how it was with me when I went to a pool party. You know, they be hosting those pool parties. So I
Mhm.
went back in May, and guess what? I ended up going back. I ended up going back to my old self. I had started
Mm.
back cussing, drinking,
Mm.
all that. And
Mm.
then they did have a other one last week, and I was gonna go to say, I was gonna go. I was gonna stay a little bit to, say hi to AJ and all them. But
Mhm.
for some, the Lord did not let me go. The Lord say, "You not going."
Mhm. Yeah, the guy will set you straight. He's like, I
Yeah,
didn't put you over there.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
they be turkey and all that smoking and stuff.
Yeah, I just feel so out of place. And I think I always felt that way, but I always tried to like force myself, like, oh, let me try to be out of my shell, when God was literally just like, it's not for you, babe. And that's okay. In
Yeah,
your journey, you have to learn that that is okay, but also knowing that, still trying to find that space that is for you. And that's what I want to do on campus, is to find a space where um, people that follow Christ can actually reign in. And so, definitely, and learn how to say no. Like,
yeah,
that's what I've been learning my senior year. It's
yeah.
like, I'm trying to practice to keep saying no, even though I love my friends. And they invited me to a pool party too. And they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to the pool party. I was like, no, not feeling it.
No.
No,
Yeah,
sorry.
I love my friends too.
Yeah.
But we can hang out, but instead of going to a pool party, that's gonna be a lot of sinful things that's
Mm,
gonna go on there. So
yeah.
yeah, but the other thing is, Siraj, right?
Say that again.
Siraj. She graduated back in December. She
I
from
don't think.
Houston, Texas.
I don't think so. I don't
So
think.
she had this little Christian group called Gang Gathering,
Mm-hmm.
and they do events like twice a month. So she told me about. I definitely will send you the information. Like they don't do stuff every day in the month, but like twice a month, like on the weekends.
Oh, okay. And is it like an on-campus type of situation?
No, it's a outside camp, but they do meet at her apartment complex, Maverick's Place.
Okay.
Like sometimes the guys will have something, and sometimes the girls will have something. Then they would do something together with the guys and the girls.
Oh, well,
So
okay.
it's a good event. Like last month, I think it was June, I believe they had like a pool party, and I didn't know nothing about it until I had interviewed her friend where I saw them on Instagram. And I
Mm-hmm,
was
mm-hmm.
like, man, I want to be a part of this, even though I go to church and I'm part of the singles group. But it would be nice to have other Christian friends too to hang out sometimes.
Because it's like it's really cool to have something that like church is amazing. Like it's great to be in the house of the Lord, being
Yeah,
with like-minded people and having church is definitely like a place where you can create that family, especially if you don't have that, right? Instead of trying to like, find it on your own, when you just
yeah,
find a church like and plant yourself where God has planted you in, then it's like the right people will be in your space, right? And so that's why I love my church so much. It's like when I started going, like I started going by myself after I left my former church, and I was kind of like trying to find myself, while getting to know other people, and so I just kind of I'm an extrovert, so I'll talk, but it takes me a minute to kind of like, all right, let me see if I can trust you in my space, you know.
yeah,
So, but everybody is so kind and like I've been drawn to so many people and it's really good to get to know a lot more people when you're active. So like when you're serving, when you're ushering, greeting, or just participating in creative ministries like I am in the productions and the Christmas and Easter productions or the dance ministry, like you get to know so many different types of people and be a part of their lives and uh, yeah, so it's definitely important to find a church home, I suggest, while also, finding somewhere, outside of church to also be around, from
yeah,
Monday to Saturday, you know.
yeah, yeah. And that's what I like about this group. That my friends survive. Say I can come sometimes. But hey, y'all do nothing every day. Hey, why not? I can come sometime. Long as I go to my church and participate with my group, which we
Hmm.
meet on Wednesday. Some Wednesday, of course, to become part of the singles group at my church. And me and Todd Block, we go to the same church. So
Oh yeah. Okay,
yeah.
I visited his church before. Okay, that's
Oh,
cute.
really?
Yes, I might visit again. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah. So I go to that church. So I was like, man, it would be nice to, build relationship with people outside the church too,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
we all can like come together, and we don't have to be sinful. It's like drinking, smoking, all that, and cussing. Because I'm trying to stay away from that. I had
Right.
not been cussing, so
Yeah, I definitely like this past summer, like after, the resting from my other semester, like at first, especially like going on campus, I never cussed. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be totally transparent with y'all. I never cussed since I was born from all the way to senior year of high school. But once I put foot on campus, I'm telling you, like I wasn't acting like a whole different person, but my mouth was a little looser. I'm gonna be quite honest.
Girl, guess what, girl? I heard you at that when we did that wild and out thing.
Oh, oh, child.
That
Listen.
was that time. I'm not gonna sit there. I was acting up at that wild and out thing.
No, for real. It'll be fun though, but it's like think about us as Christians. We have to
Yeah,
set a good example, right? In being a proper ambassador of Christ, because it says in His Word, like make disciples, go out and make disciples and baptize them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. And
yeah,
so, being able to go do the Great Commission, you have to be a great ambassador of Christ. And so at that time, I was like, yeah, I'm still in the faith. And, it's just like my mouth is a little looser, but I do everything else, right? I do everything else good and fine and dandy. And I read my Bible and all these other things. But yeah, you learn to give myself grace, but also hold myself accountable. And
yeah,
knowing that, hey, like, I had my season. I'm gonna just say that. I just had a season, But now it's like this past summer, like being around like people from church or things like that. It's just I haven't found myself even cussing that much, and I also prayed about it a lot. I was like, Lord, uh, I'm starting to feel that conviction. Like I don't want to keep having my mouth like this because the power of the tongue is life or death. Okay,
yeah,
so I want to be able to clean my mouth and be able for people to see God when they see me. Does that make sense? Like see Him
yeah,
when they see me. So I wanted to walk and set that example. And I first just wanted to clean up how I talk to people. And so, that's what I wanted to do. So I've been doing a lot better now. If it slips up, like it, just give me some grace. We're going step by step, but so far so good. That's all I'm gonna say.
yeah. We got some areas to work on. So the shows, I like to talk to my guests about what shows they like to watch. Have
Okay.
they cut off some shows since they became Christians? Do they
Um.
still watch? Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Shows is interesting because I think I started off cutting music first, certain music that I used to listen to. But let me think of some shows. I really liked All American. Like All American, that's oh, that's my show right there. But everybody be questioning me why I had a crush on Daniel Ezra, who was the main character. But that's neither here nor there. It ain't about all that, His character, like he come through, okay. But anyway, but I watched like the last season and some stuff that she was talking about sage and incense and the universe and trying to get some sea salt to put around the house. I said, "Oh, by season what season we in? Season 6? By season 6, y'all? By season 6 we doing this? Come on. Don't make me have to turn this off now." But I was just like, "Oh, no, I don't do that." And I have a spirit of discernment, so I know how to get the good stuff and like move past the bad stuff and not let it affect my spirit. But
Mm,
yeah, I just like why all American, y'all? Like please. But and that's like one show, but other stuff I watch, I don't really have like a show to watch. I do watch a lot of like murder documentaries though, but I don't know. I think that's just a niche I have when I'm like bored and it's like I need information. Like I need to see who I need to watch out for. But
yeah.
other than that, I don't. It's more. I'm more of, like music. There's music that was
Oh
just
yeah, we about to get
my
to that.
yeah. So I'll let you go to it.
Yeah, and of course, I still watch a couple shows like soap operas, like The Bow and the Beautiful and General Hospital. I know those shows are not Christian, but
Mm-hmm.
when they doing sex scenes, I like overlook it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, I don't need to be watching them doing sex scenes now. Then Power, of course, but this is gonna be my last season watching Power anyway. So
Right, yeah. I definitely there was one show that I was watching. What's it called? Insecure. And I watched it like last summer and I started watching it. I was like, "Oh, this is so cool." And like I felt like it all the stuff that she, goes through is so relatable to me cuz like I'm kind of like I was kind of like the awkward like quirky girl like but like can talk to different people, who's also friendly, but has some interesting personality, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so, but then those sex scenes are heavy. I'm like, all right. Like, I don't know how many seasons. It's like, what, five of them? And I'm just like, bro, like, it gets more and more intense each season. I'm like, every other episode, I have to prepare myself with this remote to fast forward. Because at first I was like, okay, we get it. Boom, boom, boom. But then it's like, the sex scenes be drawn out. I'm just like, that's enough. Like, you just trying to feed the flesh now. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I fast forward after like season two, season three, and I'm just like, ah, here they go again. So yeah, it's just we gotta learn how to protect our spaces for sure.
Yeah, we definitely have to learn to protect our space. Like I recently watched Sabrina the Teenage Witch. That's the show I grew up with. So I'm sitting here, watching there. I say, long as I don't practice witchcraft, man, I'm good.
For sure, but I definitely try to lean with the spirit, like Lord, like you want me to turn this off, let me know. But for so far,
Yeah.
so
Uh-huh.
good, you know.
Then speaking of music, I had to let go of secular rap music. I don't listen to that no more. Of
Hey,
course, some people gonna call me lame. But what about you, though?
so I actually done this like last year, and there was one time I was just like, mm, let me see. I'm gonna just, not fast from, but like I'm gonna set this aside and with secular music and just strictly listen to gospel for the whole week or the next couple weeks or something like that. And like when I was like I was working out, like I exercised, and so it's like, oh, I got to put on something for me to work out to, and I'm just like, well, I got a gospel rap playlist, I guess I'll play that. And so that's when I started like kind of filtering out, but then like I got out of it, and then I was like, ooh, listening to this feels a little different. And so I think I don't know what the time frame was, but I know I started out with rap. I was like I used to listen to Tyler the Creator a lot, and then I listened to Lil Baby, Da Baby, Lil Wayne, Chris Brown. Well, Chris Brown's not rap, but it's just like I'm just naming artists. All those artists, Usher, unless it's like some throwbacks, but nothing like too crazy.
Mm.
And who else? And then I cut out like, oh, what's his name? Oh, what's his name? He was a dude that went crazy on the internet one time, but he over sexualized a lot of stuff. Like, but
Yeah.
I was just jamming to it because like I'm the type of a person that likes the bass, and so like if the beat go hard, oh yeah, it's up. But the lyrics, I was like, ooh, yeah, it's a sour taste in my mouth. So I cut out rap. R&B is a thing that I'm having a journey with right now because I love me some just some rhythm and blues, but I'm learning to kind of filter that. But
Mm.
I know my Spotify Wrapped last year was just like everything was gospel and then Brent Fayez. Because Brent Fayez, I'm a Brent Fayez fan, but whew, I know the Lord, He's gonna tell me at one point like, yeah, you need to start listening to him too. And I'm just gonna be devastated. That's gonna be the mighty test. So I'm like, but so like recently I've been like listening to anything gospel. Like I've been finding new music, some gospel R&B to kind of like wean me off of the secular R&B. And so from right now, like, and I've been listening to like piano music, when I used to play it, like when I used to teach with kids in the background. And so,
Mm.
yeah. And I haven't really had the need. If I play anything outside of gospel, it'll probably be like like clean music, you know?
Yeah,
Like 70s, some 70s, 80s songs, like some Michael Jackson songs and
yeah,
something that's like clean, you know? And so
yeah.
that's so far of my journey with music, but it's I came a long way
You
because
say you
I listen to
came a long
anything
way.
mainstream. I
You
chat.
got to let it go. And yeah, and me person with the music thing, I still listen to secular music, but it's clean secular music like country music. I
Mm.
love me some country music.
I mean, country is cool. I can. It's not my type of style, but I definitely some country music. I'm just like, okay, I'm feeling this, you know. So I listen. I
Yeah.
like music. That's just, you know, that's just good.
Yeah, and I listen to the oldies and dance on R&B music. I mean,
Mhm.
I like Destiny Child, Monica, and Brandy. So,
Oh yeah, I have that on my playlist too.
yeah. So, yeah, I try to, some of the Beyonce music is good. I don't cut her out completely, but I just don't listen to all her music. But,
Yeah, it definitely is a process, and you got to give yourself grace each step of the way. So just keep praying about, and then God will help you through it. And like, it's not an immediate cutoff, you know. Like if you gotta like work yourself, away from
yeah,
it, and you'll be straight.
yeah. Yeah, I know some Christians like I listen to secular. I mean, Happy Birthday is secular music. Then Disney movies are Disney songs are secular music.
hmm
I mean, if they clean secular music, I say listen to it. As long as they don't disrespect, because yeah, they disrespecting women and all that, killing and sex and I don't know. Don't listen to it. So
that's worldly music for sure. Like
yeah,
that's that stuff where it feeds into your spirit little by little, and like all of a sudden you just like, why do I feel so aggressive when I wake up listening to battle rapping? Like, bro, so it's definitely something that is very important because it does feed into your spirit, into your subconscious without you knowing. Like I find myself having like weird dreams when I was listening to rap. Like I was like,
well, really,
child,
it demonic stuff.
nah. It's just random weird stuff, and I'm like, what is this? Like, get this out of my subconscious mind. So it's definitely
Yeah, I see people went to the Sexy Red concert. My little sister went.
no. I stay away from her. I need
Yeah,
I hear it in the background and I'm like I have discernment, so I'm like, okay, I can deal with it, but I'm like if it's in the car, I'm like, can we play something else, please? Or else
yeah.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah, it's just something about her, and she's a nice young lady. But I wish she can go a different path because, I mean, I feel like she marking herself as what I'm trying to say. I don't want to say on the
Object.
podcast.
Yeah, like a sex
Yeah,
object for sure. Yeah.
and I'm just like, Mark, we can pray for her. Pray that she get her life to the Lord. I mean, she can become a Christian rapper. Sure, I'll be down to listen to her music then support her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, child. I never would listen to Sexy Red, but the mainstream music now is literally where it's the devil's playground. And so
Yeah, it is the devil play. You Hollywood, the show become me. I also want to get into acting. And I'm like, Lord, lead me to the right direction because I don't want to be on everybody's show where they will have me like doing drugs and having sex with somebody. And I have a conviction because well, you know what? I don't want to be doing that.
ooh, so you want to be an actor?
Yeah, I want to do that on the side. Yeah.
Really? Oh my gosh, same. That's what I've been striving for. I had some experience
Really,
in
we
acting too.
might work together one day.
Okay, come on now. I just watched The Forge. Have you watched The Forge?
No, I want to go see it though.
Please Go see it. It is amazing. Especially, I encourage all men to watch The Forge. Like it is such healing and a blessing to your heart. I'm telling you, and it definitely opens your mind to like how to be a man of God and also
Yeah,
be a child of God. And so it's a beautiful and miraculous story, and I highly suggest watching it.
yeah. And shout out to one of the actors that I had interviewed on the movie. Called his name is Michael J. Patterson. So,
Really? I need to look him up
yeah,
and see. Oh my gosh,
yeah.
that's crazy. And
The
yeah,
acting talk edition episode.
I'm gonna look it up right now. I'm gonna go look it up right after this. Cause I know Priscilla Shire too, and she came to our church for one of our women's share event. And so, which I missed, but she came to our church, so I'm like, I was there in spirit for sure. But
Yeah,
yeah, it was good.
yeah. Have you ever went to Oak Creek Fellowship?
I went before. I went before at it was for this last year's New Year's Eve event, and maybe because you know why? Because I found out like on my Spotify thing that Mike Teasy, the Christian rapper.
Yeah.
So I heard that he was gonna perform at that church. But
Oh.
then I came in there and the parking lot, oh, it's my first time, and I'm like, whoa, they really be having like a full buses to pick up people from the parking lot into the church. I'm like, wow, y'all really out here, mega church out here. And
Yeah.
I got in there and they was praying, worshiping, having a message, all these other things, and I loved it, right? But my back of my mind, I'm like, so when is Mike TC gonna come out? And then I asked this girl next to me, I was like, hey, you heard of my TC? I heard that he was going to be here, did I miss it? Because I came a little late. And then she was like, oh, no, I think he's probably with the youth church across the street. I was like,
Oh.
oh, that makes more sense. But either way, I still had a good word because my church doesn't do like what's it called, watch nights on New Year's Eve,
Mhm.
and so I went to another church to do that. So it was still cool
Oh.
though. But that church is pretty nice.
Yeah, I went there for a funeral. That was
Mhm.
like back in May. So,
Mm, wow.
so
Have you went to that church before? Like, I know.
no, that was my first time going there. I would love to go visit again.
Hmm.
I'm trying to get the youth leader to be on my podcast.
Really? Oh, I'm so.
Yeah, I know he married and he have a son, baby son. And I try to reach out to him on Facebook.
Oh, okay. I definitely
Yeah.
encourage that. Hopefully he comes through.
Yeah, I'm praying. He ain't add me on Facebook yet, so and I
Okay.
tried to get to him through the comments, but he had not respond. Praying, 'cause I'm
Hmm.
like, man, it would be nice to talk to a youth leader,
Mm.
especially when I do my generation episode. I have to like, get young people to God.
Hmm. Yeah, because these youth, like I serve the youth at my church called Elevate. Shout out to Elevate. Um, but yeah, they're like I think from seventh grade to 12th grade, something like that. And
Mhm.
so they they're amazing kids, and I love serving the Elevate ministry, and it's definitely it's something that I wanted when I was like around their age as a
Mhm.
teenager, because in teenage years that's when you're really like trying to figure out who you are and like learning like how to be there for yourself and take care of yourself,
Yeah.
find out your identity. And so having those type of spaces where they can come to church every Wednesday night and being around friends that also love God, and creating spaces where they can worship and uh, have a message, and then just have fellowship with each other, while also having great spiritual, youth leaders to be able to set a good example and have good role models for them. That's something that I really adore um, and love about the student ministry that we have, and being able to have so many resources. Like we feed them. too. And I'm just like, oh, y'all feed them like every
Not no nachos or chicken.
week. They get pizza every week. Like, oh, like so
Oh,
it's really cool, and it's I love how they're learning and growing about God. And after, like, their youth pastor gives a message, they get to go to small groups and talk about it with the different volunteers about what they learned, and then get to present it, at the end of what they talked about in their group. And um connecting with the word and inspiring them to also be disciples, and share the word with and spread the gospel with people at their school and their friends outside of church. So it's definitely
mhm.
good to build their confidence and their identity in Christ. So it's really
Yeah.
powerful.
So yeah, before I let you go, so we gonna talk. I know a lot of people, and we did touch on this earlier about
Hmm.
community, and a lot of people, back in, I guess that was during the pandemic or
Hmm.
before the pandemic, they came up with this thing, church hurt, and a lot of people don't want to go to church; they prefer to watch it online. So, what is your intake on church hurt?
Ooh, that's a good question. And that's just something that I had a a similar experience as well, because I had a time where I was really dedicated to coming to church and being active in church, and I loved being there and learning about the word. I'm always a note taker. I've been a note taker since I was a little girl, writing the same three groceries on my little notepad. Like, I always take notes, right? And so as a kid, like, when we were listening to the word, like, we didn't have like a youth pastor or a youth church. It was a Baptist church. So um I was listening to the word, and I'll take notes and sometimes doodle. This is like my when I teenage years. When I was younger, I was just doodling. But like, I would like take notes and like highlight and go back into the word, and like, I was always paying attention during the sermon. And you know, vacation Bible study and having these type of spaces of just having fun while also loving Christ and learning about Christ. And then there was like this one time, like as I got older, when I rededicated my life at the time, and this was like before or right, when COVID happened, like in 2020. And my, the veil start to lift, and I'm just like, ooh, something is something shifted, right? And it's something shifted to the point where I could no longer stay, and I felt stagnant going to that church. And so I left. And I had my own car, so I had the right. I was like 20 at the time, so I had my own car. I was, so I started, going to a different church. And so at the time, that church, when COVID happened, it shut down. And so when it shut down, my mom started taking us to Word of Truth Family Church, that's down the street from our house. And so we started going a few times, I think like throughout the whole year. And it's just something shifted in my spirit to where it's like, oh, I actually can hear him now. Like at first, like I was learning about him. Now it's more of like, oh, I can build actual relationship with him, like personal relationship, right? Instead of like, talking and knowing of him, like I get to know him myself. And,
Mm,
my prayers are being answered much quicker. Like I just saw something in God that I never saw before when I went to Word of Truth. And it was something that I never felt before. Um, and then when I started like, okay, like I'm looking for a church, God had in my heart, like when I woke up one morning, I'm like, Lord, what you want to say to me? And he was like, I need you to go to Word of Truth. And so it was like I got emotional. I was overwhelmed. Like he showed me a vision that I seen before. And so I started going back to Word of Truth, and I planted a seed there, and I was like, okay, here I am. I'm gonna plant my seed here and become a member. And ever since then, um, I've never been the same. Like my journey in my life with Christ, I don't think it would have gotten as far if I would have stayed stagnant. Um, and so coming to Word of Truth had changed my life tremendously. And it's not just Word of Truth itself, but it's it's the point where you're seeking God in a way that he can help you in your personal relationship with him. And that's what I needed. I need something to have a revelation of my life and the message that God has for me and the purpose God has for me. So with church hurt, I definitely would say do not be bitter because of imperfect people, because there's going to be imperfect churches because it's ran by imperfect people at the end of the day, you know. But as long as you find the one where God is literally in the center, and that ego is not in the way, pride is not in the way, deception is not in the way, greed is not in the way, and you know that, okay, God is the source and the foundation of this establishment, you know, my I can trust my space at this church. And I would just say this: God has a plan for you, and He has plans to prosper you and not to harm you, and to give you a future and a hope. And Jesus loved the church Himself, so we also, as an example of Christ, need to also love the church. And so you can try to have this Christian journey by yourself, but that's not what God wanted you to do. You
Mhm.
know, He wanted you to be in a space where you can be with like-minded people, and it says in His Word to we need to be cultivated as a unit, because we're all different parts of the body of Christ, and we have to see and know that and be around those people that we can also help each other in different ways that we haven't imagined. And you might meet your future husband, your future wife at one of them churches,
Yeah,
like you never know what God has for you. But it's going to the church reminds you that you you can't do this alone, and it's a weekly reminder like, hey, I had a week, I need to come here and be cleansed. Some people say it's like a hospital type of thing.
yeah.
So it's a healthy thing. Just start going to church. That's all I'm saying. But yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate you for joining me on this episode of Real Talk with
Yes.
Shawn Smith.
Yes,
So
thank
can
you.
you tell people what they can find you on social media on all your platforms?
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram at its dot ryenee. It's dot ry renee, and my art page is Ry official art. And um let me think. TikTok, I forgot that handle. I think it's dot laugh, something like that. And my YouTube, it's Ry Entertainment, or it's Ry ENT. And I'm gonna make another upload. So make sure y'all stay tuned, and thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you welcome. We definitely gonna do the in person interview too. So
Yes, I'm ready for that.
yeah. Okay, y'all. Thanks for watching this episode of Real Talk with Shawn Smith. Be sure to catch new episode every Friday on YouTube, and also subscribe to Real Talk with Shawn Smith's YouTube channel. With that being said, y'all have a fantastic week, and see y'all next time on the next episode, Real Talk with Shawn Smith. Bye, y'all. And y'all come back now.